For a century, one name has dominated our vision of the prehistoric world: Tyrannosaurus rex, the tyrant lizard king. It is the ultimate predator, the gold standard of lethality, a 10-ton nightmare of muscle and teeth that has haunted our collective imagination. But what if the greatest carnivorous dinosaur was not the one we know so well? What if, on another continent, evolution forged a different champion? A killer that was not a mere copy, but a chilling refinement of the apex predator blueprint. Today, we challenge the throne. We dismantle the popular myth that Giganotosaurus was simply a T-Rex clone, and present the evidence that it was, in fact, a faster, deadlier hunter. Now, let us follow the evidence written in the fossil record, decode the science hidden in the bones, and witness the final verdict in a battle millions of years in the making. The Cretaceous world was a planet of titans, and Tyrannosaurus, stalking the floodplains of late Cretaceous North America, was its celebrity monarch. Its reign, however, ended around 66 million years ago. But travel back further in time and shift your gaze south to Patagonia, Argentina, 97 million years ago. Here, the ecosystem was different. The herbivores were not Triceratops and Edmontosaurus, but the largest land animals of all time. Colossal, long-necked sauropods like Argentinosaurus, weighing up to 100 tons. To hunt such prey requires a predator of unimaginable power. For years, paleontologists wondered what could possibly prey on these walking mountains. The answer arrived in 1993. Amateur fossil hunter Ruben Carolini stumbled upon a tibia, a shin bone of colossal size. The subsequent excavation, led by paleontologists Rodolfo Coria and Leonardo Salgado, unearthed a creature that would shake the foundations of theropod hierarchy. They named it Giganotosaurus carolinii, the giant southern lizard. When the first reconstructions hit the press, the comparison was immediate and inevitable. It was huge, bipedal, and had a skull full of terrifying teeth. The media, and even some initial scientific discussion, framed it as South America's answer to T-Rex, a bigger, slightly different version of the same animal. The clone narrative was born. It was an easy, digestible story. Nature, separated by millions of years and an entire ocean, had simply run the same experiment twice. But this narrative is a profound oversimplification, a dismissal of one of evolution's most sophisticated predatory designs. When we, as paleoanalysts, look past the headlines and examine the holotype specimen, MUCPV-CH1, the differences are not subtle. They are profound declarations of a different combat philosophy. This is the first fossil clue. The skull of Giganotosaurus, while immense, over 5 feet long, is proportionally narrower and more delicate than the wide, robust cranium of Tyrannosaurus. T-Rex's skull is a fortress, built to absorb and deliver crushing, bone-shattering force. Giganotosaurus's skull is more like a finely engineered blade. And then there are the teeth. A T-Rex tooth is often described as a lethal banana, thick, conical, and rooted deep into a powerful jaw designed to puncture and crush solid bone. The teeth of Giganotosaurus, however, are laterally compressed, like steak knives. They are tall, serrated, and built not for crushing, but for slicing deep into flesh. This is the paleontological equivalent of comparing a sledgehammer to a cavalry saber. One is for brute force obliteration. The other is for swift, catastrophic bloodletting. These initial observations from the fossil bed were not just minor anatomical quirks. They were the opening arguments in a case to dethrone a king. They suggested a predator that didn't need to shatter bone because its method of killing was entirely different. It hinted at a hunter built for agility over armor, for speed over sheer compressive strength. The question was no longer, was Giganotosaurus a T-Rex clone? The real question, the one we will answer now, is whether its unique evolutionary path created a more efficient, more terrifying, and ultimately more deadly killing machine? To answer that question, we must move beyond the surface and conduct a full biomechanical audit. We must treat these two titans not as monsters, but as pieces of high-performance biological engineering, each shaped by the unique pressures of its environment in an evolutionary arms race. The story of their lethality is written in every bone, and modern science is our translator. Let's begin with the primary weapon system, the skull and jaws. As we established, the architecture of these two skulls is fundamentally different. When we analyze the T-Rex skull using finite element analysis, a digital stress testing method used by engineers, the results are staggering. The cranium, particularly the holotype specimen known as Su, reveals a structure of fused nasal bones and a wide, deep snout built to absorb and redistribute immense force. This allowed Tyrannosaurus to generate a bite force estimated at over 12,800 pounds per square inch, PSI. That is not a bite, it is a biological hydraulic press. This weapon was purpose-built for its North American arena, where prey-like Triceratops and Ankylosaurus were heavily armored. A T-Rex didn't just bite, it shattered, pulverized, and exploded bone, inflicting catastrophic trauma in a single decisive clamp. Now, let's apply the same analytical lens to Giganotosaurus. Its skull, while longer, is narrower and more graceful. Biomechanical models of its family, the Carcharodontosaurids, show that its skull was incredibly strong against vertical, shearing forces, but comparatively weak against torsion or twisting. If Giganotosaurus had tried to bite and hold on to a struggling victim like a T-Rex, it likely would have fractured its own jaw. Consequently, its bite force was significantly lower, perhaps only a third of its North American rivals. But this isn't a weakness, it's a specialization. Its power was not in pressure, but in penetration and incision. The 8-inch blade-like teeth were anchored in a jaw that could open and close with astonishing speed. The strategy was not to crush, but to deliver rapid, repeated, deep slashes. This was a flesh grazer of terrifying proportions, designed to sever muscle, tendon, and artery, leaving massive, bleeding wounds. This slash and bleed strategy was the perfect solution for hunting the titans of Patagonia. An Argentinosaurus was simply too large to be killed by a single bite, no matter the force. A bone-crushing attack would be futile against a femur the size of a man. Instead, Giganotosaurus likely used its superior speed to outmaneuver these giants, rushing in to deliver a devastating bite to the flank or leg, then retreating to wait for shock and blood loss to do the work. It was a war of attrition, and its skull was the perfect weapon to wage it. But a weapon is useless without a delivery system, and it is in the chassis, the full-body skeleton, that Giganotosaurus's claim to being a faster, deadlier predator truly solidifies. Tyrannosaurus was a heavyweight brawler. Its massive leg bones, particularly the femur, were pillars designed to support upwards of 9 tons of weight. It was powerful, but this build prioritized stability over outright velocity. Its top speed is a subject of intense debate, but most models place it between 15 and 25 miles per hour, a terrifying pace for an animal its size, but not the speed of a true sprinter. When we analyze the skeleton of Giganotosaurus, we see the anatomy of an athlete. Its bones, while strong, were often pneumatic, filled with air sacs that reduced weight without compromising structural integrity, a trait borrowed from its distant avian cousins. This resulted in a lighter, more agile frame. The most compelling evidence, however, lies in its leg proportions. In fast-running or cursorial animals, the lower leg bone, the tibia, is elongated relative to the thigh bone, the femur. While T-Rex has a femur that is significantly longer than its tibia, the ratio in Giganotosaurus is much closer to 1:1, a clear adaptation for speed. Its long, muscular tail provided a critical counterbalance, allowing for greater stability and agility when turning at high velocity. Conservative estimates place its top speed at over 30 miles per hour. It was not just bigger than T-Rex. It was biomechanically engineered to be faster. This difference in hardware extended to the software, the brain and sensory systems. CT scans of T-Rex brain cases reveal enormous olfactory bulbs, indicating a sense of smell that was second to none, and forward-facing eyes that provided excellent binocular vision for depth perception. It was a sophisticated, intelligent tracker. Giganotosaurus's brain was smaller relative to its body size, more akin to its Allosauroid ancestors. Its senses were sharp, but likely not as integrated as those of T-Rex. Yet again, this reflects its hunting strategy. T-Rex needed to be a cunning predator, locating and ambushing specific, often dangerous prey. Giganotosaurus was a sauropod slayer. Its primary challenge wasn't finding a 100-ton, 120-foot-long Argentinosaurus. It was having the raw speed and specialized weaponry to attack it effectively and survive the encounter. Its entire biological system was streamlined for one purpose: to be the fastest, most efficient delivery mechanism for those catastrophic, flesh-shearing teeth. We have deconstructed the evidence. We have analyzed the biomechanics. We have seen two apex predators forged in different evolutionary crucibles. One, a heavyweight champion of brute force, the other a fleet-footed master of the blade. The Tyrannosaurus was a crusher, an indomitable fortress of muscle and bone. The Giganotosaurus was a living weapon of speed and incision. The time has come to weigh these competing philosophies of predation and deliver a final verdict. When I weigh the evidence, the conclusion becomes clear. While Tyrannosaurus rex rightfully holds its place as a terrifyingly powerful animal, the thesis that Giganotosaurus was a faster, deadlier predator is strongly supported by the fossil record. The key to this ranking lies in initiative and specialization. In any combat scenario, the faster combatant dictates the terms of engagement. Giganotosaurus's lighter frame, superior leg proportions, and agile build would have allowed it to outmaneuver the more ponderous Tyrannosaurus. It could attack and retreat before the T-Rex's devastating jaws could ever find their mark. While a single, well-placed bite from a T-Rex would be fatal, Giganotosaurus's entire strategy was built around avoiding such a scenario. Its slashing attack, delivered at high speed, represents a more versatile and arguably more insidious form of lethality. A deep gash from its serrated teeth would sever muscles and arteries, crippling its opponent and leading to a victory through blood loss and shock, a method against which T-Rex's robust skeleton offered no specific defense. It was a predator designed to dismantle animals far larger than itself, a specialization that demanded a higher degree of speed and a more refined killing technique than simple brute force. Therefore, my final ranking must reflect this. Giganotosaurus was not a T-Rex clone. It was an evolutionary upgrade for a different, more challenging environment. It was the predator that evolved to hunt the largest land animals in Earth's history, a task requiring a biological arsenal that favored velocity and catastrophic bleeding over a singular, crushing bite. For its superior speed, its specialized weaponry, and its proven success in an arena of unparalleled giants, Giganotosaurus earns its place as one of the most efficient and deadly predators to have ever walked the Earth. The southern giant was no pretender to the throne. It was a king in its own right, ruling its own dynasty with a swift and terrible majesty. The myth of the clone is shattered. In the silent abyss of deep time, these great hunters remain locked in a contest for supremacy, a debate we resurrect with every fossil find. The bones are more than relics. They are the blueprints of life's most brutal and elegant designs. By studying them, we do more than rank champions. We gain a profound appreciation for the relentless creative power of evolution, which for millions of years perfected the art of the predator.